psalmist asked the question, why, O my soul, are you downcast? Why do I feel discouraged? Why do I feel depressed? What's going on the inside that makes me feel this way? I was watching a clip of one of those things that says, only in Florida. And there was a man driving down, and he had his camera going, and in the middle of the road, there was this huge gator. I mean, like a dinosaur of a gator. Only in Florida. And the man gets out of the car, assesses the situation, gets down like a wrestler, springs, dives on the gator, gator rolls with the gator, gets him to the side of the street, pulls the gator's tail, dusts himself up, gets back in the car and starts driving again. Only in Florida. You remember when you were a kid and you watched those nature shows? And they'd be like, let's go to the jungle and see if we can find a python. And if we find a python, let's see if we can get it to wrap around our bodies. You're like, okay, I hope he knows how to get it to unwrap around. Or even now they have these videos of let's see which one of these venomous insects sting is the worst. And they get a bullet ant. Ah! Of course it hurts. They get a wasp. Ah! They get one of those tarantula wasps or a scorpion, and we watch them get stung. All of these people have problems because they meddled in something they shouldn't have meddled in.
Amen.
I wonder if that's true of our soul. Look at Proverbs chapter 26, verse 17. The person that is a busybody, the person that's getting involved in family matters that aren't their family or matters that really don't matter, the gossip that goes house to house, it's like somebody that grabs a dog by the ears. Eventually that dog is going to turn and bite you. I wonder how many of the vexations of our soul have to do with getting involved with things we really shouldn't deal with. When you come to 2 Peter chapter 2, Peter is listing off all the places that were doomed to destruction. He talks about the world in the days of Noah and how God sent a flood and wiped it out. He talks about the angels in heaven that once worshipped and bowed but then were cast to the earth and cast under the earth. Then he goes on to talk about those in the wilderness that whined and complained and how they died there. Finally, he comes to Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah in the scriptures, in the Old Testament, it's referred to more than 20 times of a place of destruction. And he says, in all of their wickedness, there was one man that was saved, Lot. And that's where we pick it up. Even though there's all this destruction all over the earth, God knows how to save his people from among the rest. Amen. And he says, even Lot, who was in the midst of Sodom and Gomorrah, but his soul was vexed.
Right.
Something was wearing out. When he looked at the immorality, when he looked at the treatment of the poor, when he looked at how sensual the people were and how far they had gone, it shocked him, it bothered him. And day in and day out, he would see their entertainment, see their lack of justice. And it says it bothered his soul. And so God would rescue him. If you know the story of Lot, he lost many times. God had called his uncle Abraham to leave Ur the Chaldees, to leave his family, but Lot tagged along. As the years went by, Lot's family, Lot's clan grew stronger, and so did Abraham. They had to separate. And Abraham said, do you want this land or that land? And he chose the land that was more fertile, that was towards Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, the days came, and he moved closer, and pretty soon he's living at the gate of the city, and there's a civil war that breaks out, and Calamender has this confederacy of kings, and he defeats Sodom and Gomorrah, and he kidnaps Lot. Lot loses everything. But his uncle Abraham had trained men of war in his house, and so they rescued Lot and brought him back. And now he's not living at the gate. Now he's living in the city. And God hears the outcry of Sodom and Gomorrah. And so God sends his angels to check it out. And Abraham interceded. God said, Abraham, I'm going to destroy that city. And he said, if there's 100 righteous, don't destroy it. If there's 50 righteous, if there's 30 righteous, if there's 10 righteous, I won't destroy it. Abraham thought he did a pretty good job praying, negotiating with God, got him down to just 10. But there wasn't 10 righteous. There was Lot was righteous. And so the angels came, and when they went through the city, there were some perverted men that wanted to rape the angels. And they came to Lot's house, and the men were banging on the door saying, give us those visitors, give us those strangers. We want to know them. And Lot says, please don't do this wickedness. And the angels came out, and they blinded that mob, and they still banged on the door. And the angel said, Lot, God is going to destroy this city. You got to leave now. And Lot went to his relatives. And he said, God is going to destroy this city. And you know what they told him? Lot, you're so funny. You're always telling jokes. What a good prank, Lot. And they didn't believe him.